you can call it.
Okay, we've got, we're gonna do the minutes first, and then we've got two very short things we have to do, both of which are essentially signing contracts. And then we will get to the solar, which also should be short tonight, I hope. So, anybody have any changes to the minutes?
Yeah, I've been doing this.
I have one change, Bonnie, the, where it says,
21.
on the South Road Pole project, it says, if not, the company will replace with another linden away from the line of work. They only agreed to try and supply a tree, not to actually plant it. So we should say to be planted away from the line of work. She thought they could just provide a little tree and the people could plant it.
That's instead of replace.
No, we'll replace with another linden
Right there.
to be planted away from the line of work.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if they plant it, that'd be great, but they didn't agree to. Anybody else? I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of 4:20 with the amendment.
All in favor? Tom seconded. Okay, we've got a contract for the reconstructing and what it was project, pole project on South Road that we were holding for a natural heritage feedback, and we need to get that signed. I'm looking for it here.
It's right there.
Oh, I see. All right. This is it. We already voted on this one. We just haven't signed it.
Which one's this one?
This is the one for the South Road Pole project.
Oh, polls on top.
It has a funny name, reconstructing project or something like that.
Yeah, they're gonna cut a couple of trees, right?
They're going to cut 5 trees,
5 trees.
and we asked them to carry away the dirt until the project is completed. And they're going to provide 1 replacement tree if they can. We have anybody joining by Zoom, or is everybody?
Well, they won't be able to, because they don't know them.
They can't. Okay.
They can't. Because the regular one doesn't come up.
And here we go. Yay. Okay.
We didn't have a quorum without you, kid.
Oh, what?
Mm. Okay.
I've never been so important in my life.
All right.
And wires.
South Road pole replacement project, Andrew.
Yeah, we
Okay.
voted on it last time, but we were holding it for natural heritage.
I was down here too.
Unless someone, your turn.
I know, yeah, Bonnie will want it. She has to send it. Just make sure everything's. She can fill in the number of people who signed. I'll open the hearing for the Hampden Parking Rec Department tree cutting RDA. There's a tree right in the middle of the park next to the pavilion that's been dying for several years. Last time they asked to cut it down, we said no, because it looked like it might still survive, but I was there just a couple of days ago, Friday. It looks awful. It's gonna die, so better to take it down before a branch falls off and hit somebody. There are apparently several other trees.
Yeah, well, we approved a few years ago now, a couple of them in the back to be cut. And they, I know they cut a couple of them because they were away from,
There's still a couple up there.
there's still some more.
What are they using a bucket truck there or are they gonna?
You should have a copy in there.
She doesn't have a, I spoke to the clerk.
Yeah, I see
and
the picture.
They don't have a contractor yet. They just wanted to
Oh,
get
so
this
they-
done first.
They don't know him. Okay, so I wrote up an order of conditions that includes kind of the standard stuff. They want to minimize the amount of the equipment that goes into the 200-foot resource area. And specifically not to encroach on the 25-foot no disturb zone. Use mats if they have any. If they want to cut up the tree, put it on the basketball court that's right there, so that it's on the
Yep,
impervious area. And they're allowed to cut other invasive things nearby it if there, I didn't see any, but in case there was something in the way.
They pretty much cleared it.
That's kind of our standard.
Back, way back, a few
standard
years ago,
stuff.
we gave them permission to do some clearing then,
Yeah,
of invasive stuff.
and any changes have to be submitted to us.
I got it in a bucket truck because that bridge isn't heavy enough to have it go across.
They'd have to reach over.
Well,
We have to reach across the.
reach over, or
Well-
we're not gonna drive it all the way along the bank and on the other side to get down there. because
They
can't.
could, what they could do is go up the road and come back down on the grass.
But
That's a lot of driving on the grass.
That's a lot of driving on the
And-
bank and I'd be.
And
afraid
that's on the
bank-
bank too. They'd
It's
have
all
to
along
do
the
that.
bank.
It's all on the bank.
They're gonna have to go across
Would they climb the tree instead?
or.
We don't have a representative here, do we?
I'd just be afraid if they're driving that bucket truck, that's gonna be heavy, especially all the way along the banking and it's
On
on that
that
slope
reverse
too.
side.
So now you're gonna start having the tires tear
Maybe.
the banking apart.
Mentioning that they can't do that either.
No, it says they can't drive in that area.
Yeah. It already
Mm.
says that.
Okay.
No vehicle should encroach on the no disturb zone. And in this, I specified the no disturb zone is starting at top of bank because it's not really
Judy,
clear.
her on the phone.
Oh, can you ask her how they plan to get the truck in there?
She's
just going
outside so she can talk to us.
And are they gonna use a stump grinder? Or they gonna leave the
No.
stump?
Stump is staying.
They're gonna leave the
I
stump.
see the tree roots were staying. I just wasn't
Oh.
sure if the stump was staying. So.
Okay, can you hear us? I can hear you. Okay, so they want to know how you're going to get a truck to the area to get that tree down,
Or are they gonna climb
or
the
are they
tree?
gonna climb the tree? Do you know? I don't know. Okay, I don't think they would have.
We can put it in the conditions, Andrew, if you want. We can just say
I'd just be,
that truck can't go across the bridge and it can't go down the bank.
That's what she just said. She thinks they're gonna have to climb it because they're not gonna be able to get a
I
truck
just-
over there.
okay.
Okay, so they're gonna put that in the condition.
I'll add it.
Yep.
Okay.
The two concerns I have is either the bank will
Yeah.
break apart,
Right.
or you'll topple the truck over and now everything's in the.
In the brook, yeah.
Are we all set? Do we have any more
Yeah,
questions?
just tell her that, they're not gonna be able to drive a truck along that far bank.
Yep, they're gonna have to climb it. We're all set with you though.
Unless they reach over with
Yeah,
something.
right, right.
Parking lot.
Right now, so.
Or just drop it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gotta go
Away
back
from
and
the
forth.
pavilion
You're on
between
Twitter
them.
on everything.
But some of the trucks now you see out there, they got arms that are,
If there's enough room to drop it between the two.
right, yeah.
they got arms now that go
Yeah.
100 feet
You're welcome.
more.
Yeah, he wants
Okay.
to reach over that. yeah.
So the trucks may not cross the bridge or drive along the bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So if they have a bucket truck that they can reach.
Yeah,
with,
reach from the parking
That's
lot, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Are there two copies here to sign?
There shouldn't be.
Oh, okay, I see.
Four of us.
Give it to Bonnie.
Oh, thanks.
That's all.
All right, we'll close that hearing. And we will open the hearing for 530 Glendale Zero Point Energy Solar Project. All right, as you may remember, we were in the middle of approving the contract with Ty and Bond for the peer review, and there was a question raised about whether or not they were registered with the state. So we put everything on hold, and the town council has advised us now that they weren't at the time, but they are now registered, and we can continue. So
Did you say that that goes with that?
yes, this goes with the tree.
This goes with the ordinance.
Um, So I thought we voted at the end of that meeting, but it's not in the minutes, so we need to revote.
We started the vote, and that's when you guys brought up the,
Yeah,
yes, you
same.
started questioning it, so
As a
the
sole-
vote,
Yeah.
the vote never got a further.
Yeah, so we'll just revote to be safe. Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the contract with Ty and Bond to go out to peer review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and we already have Lori's signature. I think we already have mine. Actually.
Have to sign the contract, right?
Yeah, I just have to sign the contract.
That one, I think it's just you, Judy.
Oh, right. Then we have the town thing that goes with it. Where's that?
It should be under, it should be the next document.
Oh, okay.
So do we know the time frame of when?
Were you able to get hold of Melissa Cody?
Pardon
You
me?
were gonna ask her if,
I just left her a
Everything's right
message.
away.
She must have been out in the field. She never got back to me.
she's been very anxious to start. She's contacted us several times.
Okay.
But I don't know, if she got frustrated and started another project and we'll be able to,
The last time was
Started right away.
May 12th.
yeah. So I'm not sure.
So we should assume we'll probably have a site walk before our next meeting, or
The project is slated to take 4 weeks. I think I read it at the last meeting, but basically there's a week of reviewing all the old files and materials, like
Yep.
all that case before and everything. And then there's a week of examining maps and doing all those preps. And then there's a week of on-site cores and mapping.
testing?
And then a week of writing up the report. And then they will contact us and we all go out and have a joint meeting with them too.
So even if she starts now.
So
it'll be
even if
2
she
meetings.
starts now, it's 4 weeks plus another week. So we're looking at 5 weeks. Lori, do you want to come up and sit at the table so you can hear what we're talking about?
It'll be early July at the earliest.
John C.
And Nick, you can come too if you want. So what we were saying is that the contract with Time Bond is for 4 weeks.
Before you, may I, because did your attorney inform you that even though you press pause, that wasn't necessarily like legally allowed? Because the only restriction by not being registered would basically limit myself to go into to mass courtrooms. That's the company is registered. And so the delay that was caused has been a month now. So what if the board is describing that I need another 5 weeks from this point, when the application was submitted on February 8th, that becomes troublesome.
Well, we do because we need a peer review. We don't have experts among ourselves to do the peer review. So we need that information.
We could not move ahead without a legal.
100%, sir. But my point was that the process was almost ready to go last
Yes, it
meeting,
was.
but then it was paused with no cause, no right cause. And as
Well,
such, the
that's
applicant has now
arguable.
suffered. But
That's between the lawyers. Where we are is either we have to sign the peer contract and continue, move as fast as we can to finish this up. Or if we're forced to vote tonight, we have to vote on the basis of having incomplete information. That's our only 2 choices. We can't deal with whether it was legal to stop or not. The lawyer told us to stop, we stopped. She said, continue, we continued.
is it fair to say that the lawyer was not at the meeting? So that it was your decision, but the selectman's decision to stop and not proceed. The lawyer was then later contacted and made that recommendation. Is that fair to say?
We said we would refer it to legal, but we
Because I
did
really
finish
want to
reviewing
compromise,
it.
like I'm not into being difficult, can we ask that Ty and Bond complete their work by the next meeting? If we can do that, then we can have a,
No way.
We can't.
It's only 4 weeks away.
but it is, their
It's a-
contract is not, would it be, have a discussion with them? Because if you read their contract, it has a week for not, something that wouldn't take a week to complete. So would it be a harm to ask them? Is it a possibility in your schedule to complete this? Because if we can basically have a discussion at next meeting, there will be no, we can just continue as is. Where if I'm delayed another meeting, now I'm like 6 weeks delayed. And so
You could ask them. But we
the
already,
board gives me permission to contact Ty and Bond.
we made the contract with them and you signed the contract. We're signing the contract. So I don't see how we can now alter it.
But if I ask Melissa, she says, yes, I can accommodate your request. Would the board accept that?
Yeah, but I don't think she will. She laid out a proposal. And I think she's going to want to stick to the proposal, but you can try to get her to shorten it if you want. I don't have any opposition to that. Anybody else?
No,
If she thinks she can do it faster,
If she thinks she can.
all
do
better.
it.
I mean, we have nothing invested in having it take longer. We want this through.
That's all I can ask. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I have no other, it is what it is. But I would be remiss if I didn't try to get it done by I think June 15th is the next meeting.
Yeah, it's an odd one. It's a 5-week month.
15,
Yeah, but-
Okay. So all in favor of signing the contract?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we did that. All right, you can sign. Let's- Those, okay, we do, however, we have been advised to get a written agreement for the continuation. So just, we've been always working on verbal agreements, and she asked us to get a continuation.
Another continuation?
No,
Well, no, from now on, to go from meeting to, we usually say, we'll finish this up at the next meeting, and everybody nods their head. This is a written nod,
I understand. I will,
okay?
it'll come from my attorney.
So we can either set it for the next meeting, and then if we don't make it by that meeting, sign another continuance. Or we could set it for 2 meetings away to give us time just to finish.
Is it reasonable that if I don't meet the next meeting, we could meet in the first Monday of the following month? I think that's
Yes.
July
Right.
6th.
You know,
So-
when they have the contract done and we can get out for a site visit, that's that. In fact, if it's at a point, but when we continue, we have to continue to a specific date. So we can't scooch one up, but we can meet
I'm
it
saying,
in the first
continue-
Monday,
We continue this to next
first
meeting.
Wednesday.
So there's your 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So if everything can happen in the 4 weeks, you can hold it the next meeting.
Yeah,
If not, if it takes an extra week, next meeting.
We could just continue it for 2
Another
weeks.
week to do another
Yeah.
meeting instead.
Okay.
Because even if she gets her stuff done,
Yeah,
we
she-
still have to go do. our
well, we have to go on the
Our
site visit.
With the site
and then
visit.
We have to have a meeting so everybody here can see all the
Yeah.
results and everything.
You would be at that and Nick
So-
as well.
So, yeah, so if we
To
continue it to next
review
meeting
that.
and we find, out, yeah, that's 4 weeks.
Yeah.
right?
She
More
may
than 4
not,
weeks
it
from
may
now.
take her a week to start. We just don't know because she's got all these things she's been shuffling.
But we
uh,
can,
to
you know,
get
we can
us-
go either way. So
to
if
get us
everything
in.
happens in a shorter window, next meeting, we can
Yeah,
discuss with everyone here so everyone can see all the results. If we've done our site walk and everything. If not, next meeting, we
yeah.
can continue it 1 week if we need to, or 2 weeks whenever we finish. that up.
You just have to agree that
Well,
you're
yeah.
willing to continue if it isn't done.
I am willing to adhere to whatever is necessary to get this.
Yeah. I mean, if we know it's only gonna be 1 week, we could actually schedule it the next week. It doesn't have to be just those 2 days. Those are just the ones where we have reserved space and,
well, the empty space is the first Wednesday and
yeah, those are, we have reserved space
That
for
first-
meetings on those days.
Wednesday of July is like 3 weeks after the next meeting.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
regular.
Right.
6th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
So,
that's.
but for now, we're
Sure,
talking
we
next
can- We
meeting.
can figure out another room if we have to or anything.
Yeah,
we
could do that.
yeah.
Okay, so what's the date of our normal meeting in a month?
In June is the
June
15th,
The 15th.
which is actually a short time because of the way the month falls.
Well, it's 4 weeks.
Yeah, but it's just barely is what I'm saying.
Well,
The following month would be much longer.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
So we also need a motion too, or just the
Yeah,
sign motion
yeah.
works? So make a
Yeah,
motion-
make a motion to
make-
continue to the
Make a motion
15th.
to continuous,
Yeah.
continue. What is this property called?
530 Glendale 0 Point Energy Solar Project.
Actually said till June 15th.
Today's the 18th, right?
Second.
Is today the 18th?
Yeah, to June 15th.
All those in
yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
This is that document, this is the signed document, I don't want to get mixed.
The
into
tie
this
and bond?
paper.
Does
This is
that
tie
go
and bond. Do you
bond?
want it?
that's the time bond contract.
There we go.
Yeah.
We don't need,
Yeah.
every one of us don't need to date it, right? No
Mm.
dates and-
Yeah.
Okay.
right, do.
Yeah, you're
Um,
all set.
This is the,
Right there.
okay. This is the one I signed for time bond. So this goes around. This is, we agree to all the agreement.
Yeah. Sure, bro.
Okay,
And this is what? Oh,
this is the one I had to sign for Ty and Bond.
oh, okay. This
So
is-
Rory signs a part and then we sign a part, well, just one person signs
This
for us
just
all.
needs to go.
And
And
Rory
then
also
the other
sent
part is from the
a
town.
letter.
The town wants all the conservation commissioners' signatures on
Okay, so
the
there's-
the contract.
and then you want This back? You want this back?
No, that goes to Bonnie too. That Rory signs that one.
Oh, is that that one?
That's
Okay.
continuing.
That's continuous.
Yeah. And do you want to make a
I'll
copy
make
so
a
he can
copy.
take it with him?
I'll do it right now.
So the official names, I had that here somewhere, just in case somebody wants to write it down.
Is that what's on this?
Yes. Thank you. All right. Confirmed names are, where is it?
Is it the 0 Point Energy up there on the top? Or are you looking at that?
Yeah,
It's on the
0
second.
Point Energy.
It's on the second page, right?
Yes.
Mass Corporation search.
0 Point Energy Consultants in Glendale Road.
And
Development,
Glendale
right?
Road Development
yeah.
LLC. Those are both now registered names. And in fact, as it turns out, it only takes 2 or 3 days to actually get registered. So Rory's right, we didn't really need to delay that long. We just didn't know.
I have a question.
Legal on our
I
side. so.
believe it's a town bylaw that you have to be registered.
Yeah, it's not a state. I had this long conversation with Rose, who's our town council. It's not illegal to operate as a company without being registered with the state. As representatives of the state, since we're essentially working for the state, they don't want us to sign things with companies that aren't registered with the state. And the honest reason is because we can't serve a subpoena. Because there's no official place to send papers and also to deliver information, like if they were going to deliver them their final forms or whatever, there has to be an in-state address. And that's the reason. It's not,
Typically, anyone could put LLC after their name and have a website and say they have a business, when in reality, they're not registered with the state.
yeah, but that wouldn't be illegal. It just, the state doesn't want to do that.
We're an odd committee in that a lot of the boards and committees in town report strictly to the town. We report to the state too.
Yeah, we essentially we're not employees because we don't get paid, but we are employees in terms of all of the meeting rules and all that, conflict of interest rules. And because we are the on-site representatives of DEP, we're also essentially working for the state.
Every
So,
piece of paper we do doesn't get looked at by the Board of Selectmen, gets looked at by Mass DEP.
So it's good to get straightened out then. So
Yeah.
technically, it needs to be done.
So now what will happen is in the next 4 weeks, we hope, or very shortly thereafter, Ty and Bond will do this review. They'll review all the papers from the past, all of the delineations, all of the mapping that's online, all of that stuff. They'll meet with, at some point, when they feel they're ready to do that, with at least some representative from 0 Point Energy and some representatives from us, walk the property, point out any differences they have about delineations. And that all gets settled out, and then we'll come back
Yeah,
here.
the property owner knows this.
And typically the two,
Ty and Bond knocking at your door.
yeah, typically the two consultants talk about it and they say, I think it should be over here, and the other guy says, I think it should be over here, and they discuss their information and confirm where they're gonna mark it. So that's kind of how it works out when you're on site. I don't expect any giant revelations, but you never know. Because they start from scratch as if they're doing it. They're not redoing the delineation, but they're checking everyone.
Well, I will email her the signed contract tomorrow, then I'll
Yeah.
send it certified.
And Lori's already deposited the check, so everything's all
Everything's all
set with
set.
that, so we're clear.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Yeah.
I have a question. When Ty and Bond finally does their review and submit it to the town, are we gonna be able to get access to that where they do their public presentation? For Ty and Bond, so we have
Probably not.
Probably not,
Because
because
it's not public at that point until
it's
they
not
present
public
it.
until they
Well,
present
that's
it.
disappointing because we got a chance to review the NRAD, so I feel like it's only fair we get to review that so we can ask Ty and Bond.
Well, it's not a contract with you, that's why. It's a
Okay.
it's really a contract with Rory. We're approving it, it's a he's the one that's paying for it.
Okay.
So if we can't have other people review it before that, but you can come to the meeting where they will go through it. They will come to the meeting that follows our site visit.
Mhm.
And they will explain anything that you need explained
Okay.
and go over it all with you.
Have the citizens allowed them to site inspect
Yes,
if they have a couple of representatives?
yeah, you are allowed at the site inspection. It gets hairy if there's a lot of people there, but if you wanted to, you could send 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, the
That's
neighbors,
what
if
we
we
pull back
select a
to you.
few people to go, not
It's
50.
really hard to trample all over the property with 20 people, but 3 people maybe, or 4 people.
Will we be able to tell when you guys do the site visit by calling you? When you have a date picked out?
We'll post it probably,
Okay.
In this,
I
if
know
we
I
have
physically
time.
can't walk it, but maybe someone else on Monday would want to walk it. I'm not gonna speak for myself. I know I can't do it.
Yeah, we could, if you designate somebody, Bonnie could call them.
Yeah.
Or email them.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to be the designee and then even if you can't do it, ask somebody else to do it for you, but at least
Okay.
you'd know.
that's a thought. Okay.
Any other questions? Do you have any questions?
Good, thank you.
You've been coming to all these meetings and just so quiet.
I just taking it in and listening.
Okay,
You didn't come to the last meeting. Were you at the last meeting?
I tried to jump on Zoom, but it wasn't working.
Zoom is broken.
Yeah.
It's still broken today. It's
Yeah,
working,
they spent the whole
but-
meeting trying to get
but
on
the
Zoom.
master
Nobody
link
could
isn't
get on.
working, so people can't log in from home.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, actually. Have you guys started cutting trees down like near, no? Because I just hear a lot of stuff and I was just wondering. if you would-
We hear that too.
Yeah, like out that way.
I mean, I'm working around my house on my plant beds and everything else.
Yeah.
We're running trucks.
Yeah.
We aren't touching
Yeah.
any of the woods because that has nothing to do with.
I mean, it's his property, it's his personal property,
Right,
so
of course.
by law, you're allowed to cut. Don't quote me on the number, there's several thousand square feet of trees that you can cut without getting a forest cutting permit.
25,000.
As long as you don't go into the riverfronts and that sort of thing. So there's a big, huge piece in the back that's forest.
Right.
He could go in and cut, I think it's 5,000 square feet,
25,000.
25,000 square
you need
feet.
to get it.
They're
of
bigger than
wood
mine.
that he could cut for his own use. Like say he wanted to use it to make floors for his house or to burn in his fireplace. He can cut that much wood as long as he stays out of the wetlands without having to get a forest permit. So you could hear chainsawing, he's allowed to cut trees.
Yeah. How does he know that it's the wetlands? Like he has a map of his own property.
Yeah.
He knows-
He has the part that was the maps that were already determined by the company that Rory hired.
And if he is cutting the wetlands,
Um,
when we go to walk the site, we're
We'll
gonna
know.
see.
We'll
we're
see
gonna know-
that he
we're
was
gonna
cutting
know,
trees
and
there, so
that'll be-
Nobody wants to do that because then you can get fined by
Right. right.
DCR.
Right.
So,
And there's been a few fines in town, so.
yeah, they do it. Sometimes you get away with it, but most of the time you don't.
No.
So it's just not worth it. You know, people usually leave an extra distance just to be
Yeah,
sure.
on the safe side, yeah.
And I just have one other question too. So did you buy that land just purposely to put the solar panels in there?
You don't have to answer that question, sir. That's
No.
There's no,
Can you state your name for the minutes, please?
Sure, I am Cindy Galavati
Thank you.
and my land abuts his
No, I
land.
just, because
And I've never met him before, but I think you
Is
met
that your
my husband. Yeah, I think you came on our property and met my husband or something a couple times. But anyways, no, I'm not trying to, I'm just asking a question to somebody that lives, lives down the road. I was just wondering, because I know that you, I think you're from East Long Meadow and.
Well, you live in the house now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives
No,
there.
no, I was just, I'm just curious for my own, as a neighbor, like, I was just wondering if, like, you just were, moving to, your wife is from Hampden, right? And I was just wondering if you were like moving here, live here.
I don't want to be mean or anything, but
Yeah.
this really isn't part of our
Yeah,
meeting.
you
So if you guys
really
wanna have
can't
a
ask him
conversation
questions.
outside-
You can visit him and ask him, but you can't
Okay,
ask him here.
sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's fine. Does anybody else have any more questions?
Relevant to the
relevant to
actual
the
project.
Conservation side of it, so.
Well, the first one was.
Yeah, no, that's.
Yes.
No, it's fine. Then I guess we'll move
Nope.
on to our next piece then.
Okay, so that hearing is closed and not closed, I'm sorry, continued until June 15th.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. What do we have next on our,
This is all the file that goes back to.
I think that was all that was on there.
Sorry, thank you.
The letter.
Oh, that wasn't on the thing.
No,
What was the letter?
the letter to Mr. Conway.
Oh,
There's a copy of it here.
Somebody left there.
no, that's the lady that went out.
Oh.
It's not on the agenda. There's a copy of it.
Hopefully I didn't sound.
No, that I was
No,
gonna,
but then
No, I know. I just wanted to make sure.
we have to make
We'll go
sure
on.
when people start to talk that they say their name and
yeah.
Oh, no, I'm
their
saying,
address, so that we know, we don't have.
I was saying, I hope I wasn't too mean.
Oh, yeah,
No,
moving
no.
forward.
it has to stay
I
on.
don't have it.
Yeah, we have to- but we also
This
have to be
wasn't
able
in
to
your file?
identify
No.
We have
Maybe
It's not in there.
What are we looking for?
She doesn't have a copy of the letter.
What, don't you have a copy
Mr.
of?
Conway, Mr.
Oh, this is from
Conway-
April. Oh,
Oh, from the turtle.
No, this, yeah.
yeah, this is,
The turtle shop.
This
we
isn't-
talked about this
okay,
at the
That's
last
the old
meeting.
one, okay.
Yeah, it's just left in your file,
And
I
he
guess.
never got back to us.
Did you send
No.
another one since the last meeting? You were
No.
Supposed to, right?
Yeah, the last one I sent was April,
27.
You go back to the minutes.
27th, and that was after the last meeting.
You go back to the minutes of the last meeting.
Trailers and we discussed,
Um,
did a site visit, found barriers need to be established.
Yeah.
Once this is done, they need to be reinforced.
And then it says, Andrew suggested sending a certified letter to Mr. Conway explaining it.
I did,
Oh, you did? Okay.
on the 27th.
That's what this letter is. This was
Yeah, yeah.
after the meeting.
That was 2 months ago already?
No, the meeting,
No, last,
the minutes of 4/20,
Was
which
this
we just
dated, Brett?
approved.
yeah,
Because
this is 5.
this is dated
Yes,
April
okay.
24th.
And this is, this is a
It's
week
hard to
later,
does it.
Oh.
It all gets so confused with all
The
these.
dates are, yeah, so this is right.
but he hasn't answered.
And Rory's
Okay.
right
Did he
that
get- did he-
if
we
we
get
had
this back?
actually-
Did you
Yes.
receive it? Okay.
Yes.
just
that's why I sent it
for
certified.
future interest,
Okay.
if we had asked, if we had actually voted in the meeting,
Yeah.
then we could have gathered as soon as Rose was sure that the companies were registered and
Yeah.
signed it and sent it out. It would have saved us a week or
But
two.
we didn't know.
But if we get stuck in that position again, that's what we
Yeah.
should do. Go ahead and be prepared to
Sure.
continue
I was going
So-
to drive by this on the way here and I forgot.
Yeah, but we do need to keep an eye on him
If
because
it's-
he hasn't done the reinforcing as far as we know, so.
If it's light
the
out
minute
when
the
we leave
fences
here
come down, we
tonight,
need to
I'll
do
run up there
something.
real quick. And look,
Yeah. Okay,
and I'll send everybody an email.
Could be worse.
all right, there are some other small things we just want to update you on. We have a new state forester again.
Again, another one?
Well, the other guy was interim. This is our real
Okay.
dude, so to speak.
Well, if this, I'm just, not that I don't want to jump back to this letter, but reading this letter here, he really doesn't have to contact us unless he has any questions.
He just has to do the
Because it says,
reinforcement.
yeah, May
Yeah,
9th, we're gonna go
right,
out there and inspect it, so
Right,
as long as
which
it's
I
okay.
didn't do, and I'll run up there when we leave the meeting tonight
Yeah.
and I'll go look.
Oh,
Yeah.
so, half in, half out, I guess, looking at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay, his name is Jacob Macko, M-A-C-K-O. You probably want to write this down just in case somebody asks you about
Almost
something, you
like
can just call him.
Mako, but Mako.
But Macko. And we only have his private phone number or his state email
You
would
sent an
be,
email about that, didn't you?
no, I sent one about Sean Libby,
Oh,
who was the interim one.
Mhm.
So, it would be jacob.macko at state, no, at,
I got it right on
Massive-
the computer. Wait a minute.
yeah,
Is it-
they all have the same ending,
At mass.gov.
Yeah.
yeah.
something like that.
Master.gov. So it would be that, and he has a private phone number, so only call it if it's an emergency of some sort.
So Jacob Mako and what? That's his name is what?
She's looking it up,
Oh,
because I never remember.
If it's just his name, it should be
It's the same as Sean Libby, except you put jacob.mako in front.
at mass.gov or
Mass,
whatever.
I think it's. Mass.gov, because I think we're,
At
we're-
mass.gov.
At
Okay.
mass.gov.
because we're
Okay.
Hampden mass.gov.
Right.
So if you're a
Right.
town one, you get the town before it, and then if you're the state.
Is it MA or
No,
MASS?
MASS.
MASS.
.gov.
Oh, guess not, MASS. Okay.
Last name is Mako. What's his first name, Judy?
Jacob,
JCOB.
yep. And don't write this in the minutes. I'm just going to give you guys his
Mhm.
personal phone. This is his personal phone. He has no desk.
He
So-
doesn't have a state phone yet.
So he's
Most people call it-
272-5365. It's a 413 number. So that would be like if you see something really horrible that you
Yeah.
think needs to be stopped right away,
Yeah.
you could call that number.
And
Otherwise, we'll go through his
This is the
email.
forester.
Yeah.
This is the state forester. So it was Doug.
Yeah.
Now, then it was Sean interim. Now it's Jacob for real. He's like appointed to the.
For a while. anyway.
He's our regional state forester. Okay. Evergreen Designs has put up their fence on Glendale and Bennett Road there. You know,
Glendale.
that two-part property.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but they haven't, we don't think they have permanent markers up yet, so we're checking on that.
What about, what about that drainage issue?
The point to search,
Yeah, I don't know.
Did anything
They
ever come of that?
supposedly had some kind of agreement with the town. Whatever happened, I don't know. We never got a
I
full
drove by
account.
there the other day, but I had too many cars behind me. I couldn't
Yeah,
pull
it's
over
hard to
and
go
I was gonna
slow when you
stop.
can't really walk on the property.
You
It's
gotta
private
drive up.
property.
Can,
Park and then walk
can
down.
we,
And Mark was gonna work on it.
should we send a letter just to Mark to ask what the status is, or?
Yeah, we probably should, just to make sure we followed it up. Because if something happens, we want to make sure we've done our due
So
diligence.
I do have a question. And if I was to go up there, do we have permission to go on there without asking anybody still?
They don't have an application in place right now, so, I mean,
So you really can't.
we really can't.
No? Okay. But I could walk along the street.
You could walk along the street, you could ask to go on and check
Yeah,
it.
no, I know. But if I was just
Or you
driving
could even
by.
ask them if they put up the permanent markers, are they ready for us to come check? them?
Yeah,
You got your ID with you?
Yeah,
yeah, I keep it in the car.
yeah.
Got it on right now.
I walked out without my keys too.
Yeah,
Get in.
They filed a determination with the commission.
Yeah.
yeah, and we approved it, so.
Yeah, and they're good for 3 years and you can go.
And
on
we-
the
I thought we
property.
can go on it.
Can we
As
go
long
on?
as that's.
Yeah.
And we did a
valid.
sidewalk on that property before.
that was a condition to have the markers in. Was a condition.
So-
I thought that's always a condition.
They were supposed to notify.
Until they get-
Yes, yeah, I know
So they
that,
haven't,
But I
so
thought until they get a certificate of completion,
You can go.
then.
Okay,
we're
you're
not-
I was assuming.
Yeah.
all right, so
Okay,
we
I
can,
just wanted to ask. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
The pig farm.
Well, I was gonna do, 119 Chape, I got their NISA permit.
Who?
The
Oh,
Aljoys,
Al Joyce, yeah.
Oh,
Which
it's a
bed?
big
Bedrock.
hunting
Bedrock,
thing. What they did was they put in 7 lots.
yeah. Mhm.
They're using the back end of every lot as conservation area. NISA approved it. It's set aside as CR, and then a small part of the rest of it is going to be under CR with Audubon. So there's 2 kinds of CR. There's going to be the deed CR on the backs of the parcels and a CR with Audubon on part of what remains, but they're reserving the right to build on the part that remains. Which would be, I would have major objections to, but
where is this?
NISA. This is 119 Chapin, the Moran property, that big one that had the 2 parts and goes all the way
Oh,
back to
one
the
where it's backed
Scantic.
up to the cemetery.
Yeah. Yeah, the end of it is at the
Yeah,
cemetery.
crosses the brook and goes up to the cemetery. Or
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so,
used to be
The
a
other
yellow house.
cemetery.
Used to be a
The
yellow
other
house
cemetery.
tree that grew to the
A
center.
little
It had
teeny
three-car
yellow house.
garage.
Yes.
Used to be right there in the curve.
So the back part of each lot, how is it
Yeah.
protected? They can they,
the
is it
back
limited
part
buil-
of
limited
each lot
building?
by deed is deed restricted. The same way that we got the land for the landfill. That's a deed, it's in the deed as a deed
So
restriction.
what can they or can't they do back there? Nothing at all? Or could they put like tool shed or something in? Or
No, it's conservation restricted. They
can't do
can't
anything.
do
It's-
anything that would be able to be done on.
So we're the ones that enforce that then?
If there was a violation, I guess
That's
that it
what I'm
would.
saying.
But how
send
do
it
you know
But
notice.
how can you even know when
You
it's?
have to
Now,
come
if
to-
someone decides they
It's
want-
almost impossible,
Yeah.
which is why we don't really like
Sometimes
them.
they've asked for permanent
That's what I was
markers.
gonna say. Is there permanent markers put forward or no?
I didn't read the whole thing. It's like 80
I didn't
pages.
either, it's huge.
Personally, I would have asked at least GPS markings, so then you can at least walk.
Yeah,
up
but
there.
it wasn't up
Yeah.
to us. This was an agreement between NISA and Audubon and Builder. So it didn't come back to us except as a courtesy, they sent us a copy of it.
So
So,
Audubon's gonna review it, enforce it then if something goes wrong?
well, Audubon's holding the other CR.
Only the back
Only
piece,
the back
the
piece.
unbuilt section. They're not, the
No, I
the
didn't.
piece
bring it
that's not
with
one of the
me.
7 house lots.
I didn't bring it with me. The middle lot is really huge. It's like an estate lot. And then there's 3 little lots and 3 little lots. I think each of them is like 6 acres or something like that. And the big one is bigger.
That would be a nice piece of property.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no way you're gonna know what they're doing back there.
Right.
Unless you can
Unless-
see it from the cemetery.
But you
Unless you
know,
have a
if
neighbor
they,
that's really picky and.
Yeah.
yeah, or
Screws on
if
the
they
other.
do something that's visible, like they cut a whole
Yeah.
bunch of trees,
Yeah,
that's going to be visible when DEP does their
right.
change
Right.
checks
Start
and it
from
will
the
show
start.
up.
Mhm.
So that's basically where it gets caught.
No different than regular piece of.
Yeah. Okay, and we had a complaint about one of the Turnbergs. Who is that, Ed?
Troy.
Troy Turnberg's property, which is right across from the
Yep.
Conway
Conway.
property. It's right there at that corner,
The curve. As you're
Which
going
road
up.
are we on?
South Road.
South Road.
South Road. It's up on the left-hand side.
So, yeah, but he has a long skinny property. It was actually cut off of a huge conservation property. And he has pigs there, and there was a complaint that they were worried about the fact that he moved the pigs from his backyard to his front yard,
Yeah,
and maybe there would be something going in the stream.
yeah, they're right next to the stream if you. really
But
look at
he's
it.
farmed forever, so he's not gonna have any trouble being
Pain.
under 61 A, so that gives him tons of leeway. So I think unless we see pig poop piled by the stream or we see sediment from their corral area going into the stream, we really don't have anything we can
How
say.
far back do they have the set the bylaw distance from the stream?
And he had horses there prior, and I was just up there, and it's all graded out again, it's all been raked out.
And when we first moved on to South, they had cattle in there.
Yeah. So, if you see something that you find really disturbing, we could ask,
Are they running through the stream?
I didn't even see the big
the
one.
truth is, if you have an agricultural, if you have 61A and you're getting from one farmed field to another farmed field, you can drive through the stream, just like in forestry, which really sucks, but it's true. Because agriculture and forestry just have these long-term, at least agriculture is supposed to put down, forestry is supposed to put down a mat, but agriculture doesn't have that requirement. So unless we actually can see that they're polluting the stream, we can't do anything. So if somebody asks you about it, but keep an eye on it, if you happen to be hiking along there or something.
Just out of curiosity, because I know we went through a lot of this with the horse farm on Scantic Road. Maybe Devney's property or something like
Yes.
that, the horse farm, and I know they had to follow were they that 61A registration? Because I remember we
That's
were
right,
talking
they
about
cut
it, and
along
remember
the
they cut along the edge of the
Yeah.
brook and all that, and then we made them bring the fence back to the town bylaw.
Yes,
But did they fall under the same rules as the pig farm?
they should. They're 61A.
So we made them move back and have to leave the banking alone.
Well, I'm going up to look at. Congress.
Can we do do you
I'll
do the same
take
thing
a
with
look, see what I can
Kernberg
see.
and make them at least move back,
Or should we not have made Deputies move?
or should we not have made Devney?
Yeah.
Because what was his name? That guy that was here.
Well, yeah, you're talking about the place way out in Scantic on the right
Yeah.
side. Way out. Yeah.
I forgot. Remember the guy that came? He was everybody knew whom. I don't know the.
It's Mike Mako.
Yes, he was there and he was talking about the different stuff and they agreed to.
Yeah, we asked them to put they hadn't yet erected a fence, and so we asked them to put their fence
Okay.
outside of our area. Turnberg's been farming this farm for,
Well, I'm not saying, but
So-
that used to be a dairy farm, that other piece of property. Now, I don't know if there was a time frame that it was nothing in between.
there was a big time frame in
Mm.
between.
Okay.
And in fact, she was just in the middle of getting her 61A because having horses in stables doesn't qualify. But selling something off the property does qualify. So she had to actually breed a couple horses and sell them or something like that in order to qualify.
Okay. I'm
Um,
just making sure.
She was doing something that the new rules she got included under,
I just
um,
want to make sure we're
but they're
doing
very
the
picky
same thing
about
for
that.
everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
equally. I don't want-
Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that people get treated the same.
Yeah.
Some people are grandfathered in, and we don't have a choice, but.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But otherwise,
Every day.
yeah.
I deal with that every day at
Right.
work.
So just keep an eye on it, I think, and see if it makes you uncomfortable.
I also don't think she wanted her horses. in the
I don't
brook.
think she wanted the horses in the water.
No, she
Yeah.
really
The
didn't.
piece that brought it up was the mowing along, they mowed right along the brook. And I don't know if somehow something came down the brook or no, there was a washout. I
Yeah,
think
that
there
was the
heavy
brook on the
rain,
side.
And then there
You're
was a
right.
washout and they mowed it and then that's when the whole thing went into the
Yeah,
fences and how far back and let it
Yeah.
grow back in. I think they even planted some more bushes back in the, if
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
correctly, so.
so they stuck with our. with
Well, I
our
just want
town.
to make sure because now this river here, if they mow right up to the edge of it, we might see
Well, I don't
part of
think
that.
I don't think he's mowing, it's just allowing the pigs to
It's-
go right.
It's basically bare with,
Yeah.
right at the
So pigs
brook, there's
really-
What I'm just saying
grass.
is if we get a huge rain, say also we get these big rains
Yeah, it's,
and part of his property washes into it, we have,
yeah.
do we have to do this? I'm
Right.
assuming we have to go do the same thing, right?
But didn't the horses, though, he had horses there before he had pigs,
Mm.
so he's had horses there. And that was.
Pigs are extraordinarily diggy.
Yeah.
No, they're not gross. Actually, they're very smart.
They are
But
smart.
what pigs do when they are looking for things is they dig up
Yeah.
the soil. So
Right.
they do loosen the soil more than almost any other
Their
livestock.
snouts.
With their snouts. Yeah, they dig a lot. They take out all the roots. It's really good for getting rid of all the weeds and all of everything.
Oh, really?
They eat everything.
Now you want
Um,
to.
Now I'm gonna get some.
Well, in fact, it was one of the fights we had with the television guy that was up on the hill.
Oh, Pepin.
Pepin is because he was asking about all the different land, which livestock he could have. And Audubon said he could have horses and he could have blah, 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 but he couldn't have pigs. Well, he didn't want pigs, but he didn't want anybody to tell him he couldn't have pigs. But the reason they say all the others but not pigs is because pigs would actually dig up turtles and eat them. Well, they'll eat whatever they find. It's not because they hate turtles or anything.
They just like to eat.
They eat. They're omnivorous. They mostly prefer to dig up roots and things like that, acorns, whatever.
But they'll eat
But they
whatever.
do dig up the soil more than other livestock. So the point is even if you had horses in there, it's possible the soil would loosen, but we just need to keep an eye on it, I think. And then what we would do is just go ask him if he could regrade it again so it goes away from the river instead of into the river.
Did you say it was? It was noticeable to me because I was driving up and I'm like, oh, what did he do? And you could see it was all dark earth and it was banked back towards like away from the river.
Oh, perfect.
I mean, it looked very nice.
Maybe
That was
his
this
neighbor
weekend.
complained to
Was
him
that
too
in
and
the
he
front?
fixed it.
Yeah,
By
like,
the road?
here's the
or-
house and
Yeah.
then you go and then there's the road and then there's the river and there's the other bank.
Yeah.
And it was the
Yeah.
bank on the other side of the river away
Oh.
from, it was noticeable.
That sounds excellent.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe someone said.
So that's,
something to him.
yeah, maybe the neighbor said
But
something to them.
It stood out to me.
Well, the neighbor, the one that complained was John Nicola.
And then there's a couple of other ones in the works. There's another one on Glendale Road where they want to build a deck over the river. Probably not going to happen. Yeah. There's a lot of the lots that are coming up in town now are those lots that shouldn't have been. They should never have been designated building lots. And so Bonnie's getting a lot of calls. I got 3 or 4 while you were out on the Cape about a month and a half, 2 months ago, where she wanted me, I just sent her maps of everything and said, this is why you're going to have trouble with this lot. There were 4 or 5 lots, a couple of them King was selling. They're near the solar. And they're all wetlands and they're going to be expensive to build on if they can build on them at all. So those are just out there. Is there anything else, Bonnie?
We have the minutes to approve? Or did you guys already?
We had to
We
get
did
it
that
before you-
while we
we
were
were
hoping that
stalling
you would
doing it.
arrive.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fine.
The one change we made was that
Yeah, but
they didn't agree to plant a tree. They agreed to provide a tree that could be planted. So
to
we just
proper-
changed that.
I guess my question is to properly approve these, don't you need to have a quorum to approve minutes?
Yeah,
So you should probably make the motion now.
okay,
It's
we will
recorded.
reapprove the minutes.
Make a motion, to accept the minutes with the changes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those
We'll do it
opposed?
again.
I just want
Yeah, you're right.
to make sure.
Because this will go on.
You are correct.
Well, nothing says you can't read them and, make your changes.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we ran into this conservation, not the stormwater committee last month, we did not have a quorum. We were able to talk general about stuff, but we could not make any votes on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
we were keeping our fingers crossed. You were showing up.
and now
Okay.
the next piece I want to bring forward, if anybody here wants to be on it, I am not going to re-up my stormwater committee group. There is, I'm not, I know John Matthews is not. He didn't
Yeah.
the
he
election
lost the
there,
planning
so
board.
so somebody else has to go from the planning board. Gary Wayner's not going to do it anymore. Forgot the lady.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
She's not gonna do it anymore either, so.
So they may have to put
you're
out a
down to-
notice in
you're like
town.
Down to 2 people, so I don't know if one of these you guys here.
Yeah.
If you want to just, can you just? put
They
it-
work too many weird hours to.
That's the hard part. I
But
was,
They're only looking to, they should be able to dwindle it down to quarterly.
No.
Yeah.
meetings.
So only
So-
4 meetings a year?
Yeah, they're trying to dwindle down to only 4 meetings a year, so I don't know if you just want to send an email out just to see, obviously, most of us are here. But shoot an email out to these two if they want. We do
if they're
have,
interested.
we have a meeting coming up in June. which, you know, approves the last of the minutes and everything, but really it's gonna come into, you're gonna review what Ty and Bond does for their storm drain, you know, the testing of the storm drains and all that to see if there's anything leaking or anything and what to do from there and come up with we already came up with a plan. The state, or I don't know if it's the state or the federal government wants to come up with a plan to show people like how to re-divert stormwater instead of down your driveway.
Like have little classes kind of?
There is an educational piece, but Time Bond usually comes up, gives a presentation or whatever. You just pick a time for it, but we have to do it on a town piece of property, so I think they're gonna do a study this year to figure out which property would be best. Everybody's looking at the senior center, so like all the downspouts and everything at the senior center run in.
Yeah, and the wetlands are very close there,
Very
so that
close,
would be
and
a
they
good
And
example.
they want to do, run it into I know I'm gonna totally mess up the title of it, but like a garden, what do they call it?
A rain garden.
Rain garden.
Rain garden.
So they want to do that as a presentation.
Nice, very
You know,
nice.
we came up with that possibly, you know, Time Bond's gonna research it, how to, where to put it
Yeah.
and all this. But we were looking at doing a rain garden at the senior center, which would hopefully get enough traffic, and we're looking, I think we can out by the front, so people drive by it,
And
see it, put
notice
a, put a
Yeah,
sign in there.
that would be
whatever.
excellent.
So something like that.
On the same note, you see where the municipal vulnerability project, I know it's tied into you or not, is going to have a presentation at that garden center, East Long Meadow.
Oh,
God, what's the name of it?
Yeah.
On Sunday,
Yeah.
on the proper plants to plant.
the one on Elm Street.
Yeah, yeah. No, the one,
Meadowbrook,
no, the
Mountain
one.
View?
Not Graziano Gardens.
Garcia,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's Elm Street.
Oh, is that now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They're gonna do a presentation on Sunday in proper plants for wetland control and all that, and it's
I
being
used to
paid.
work there. It was my summer job.
It's part of the
Looks like a nice, I've never been there.
municipal
It's a lot
vulnerability
bigger than
project.
it looks.
So if anybody wants to know about the proper plants, you can go to
And
the
they own,
presentation.
they own a huge chunk of property across. the
It's in
street.
Facebook if you look.
Behind all the houses there, that's where they do all their trees.
Really?
I used to go out and mow that field, all around all the trees and then prune them.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
But yeah, so if anybody's interested and wants to go on to that, I don't.
Are they, do they normally have a member from every commission
They
or committee?
they
or-
would prefer to have
Yeah,
one from each committee. You don't actually, like, we do the reviewing, the planning board does reviewing. You don't review any individual projects. Pretty much what you're reviewing is the town.
the rules,
else's
the
reviews.
the
Yeah,
bylaws.
you're worried about the bylaws and all that. And I think the piece that everybody got upset about was the selectmen thought we were gonna start enforcing, and we're not, they are the enforcement
No.
body of it, and
Yeah,
they didn't like the
Yeah.
interpretation on a particular project from us, so everybody said, forget it, you know.
Okay, so you're not, I'm just trying to.
So I'm not upping myself, so I will be done June 31st or whatever.
So
yeah.
how would you describe it in a couple sentences, like if I put it out there, on what you do?
You know what? Our next meeting, I will bring that up. and
That's a
we'll
good
get-
idea.
And we'll get a word.
I'm sure there is a write-up in the town report. They have a
Yeah.
page in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You probably could pick the first
Yeah.
3 sentences.
Yeah, because you don't want too much, because people
Yeah.
won't read it.
By the way,
Yeah.
did you know there was a thank you to you in there?
I did, I saw that, yeah.
Isn't that sweet? I thought it was exceptionally well done this year. It was better than
That's the
average.
first time I've ever seen
Um,
that.
Apparently Pam put it together. I wrote a
Oh,
thank you note to
oh, they
Bob
do
because
that
I thought
every
he
year.
did it. And he said,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's better.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah, but there's been a report,
Better.
and if you go online, you can read them.
No, I know there's a
Oh,
report.
yeah,
That's the first.
But
time
it
I've seen the
looks
book.
better. It's more complete. The information is more thorough.
Yeah.
It's twice as thick.
While we're talking about that stuff, I got requested to be the Zoom operator for all the other committees, and I said, no.
So how much you gonna pay me?
Oh,
$18
They were actually willing to pay.
$50 an hour.
Really?
Yeah, but I
Wow.
can't, not without giving something up. I
Yeah,
can't.
that would be really.
I was
absorbing.
here for a couple hours this morning. I was over at the, across the street at the Historical Society a couple hours, and I was over at the Senior Center for a couple
Yeah,
hours, and
yeah.
it was like, no way.
In-
I just can't.
He kind of took my space, but I was actually going to ask somebody else to take I am the representative to the Community Preservation Committee, which only meets like twice a year, right before the town meeting, to make sure that basically what you're voting on is whether the things meet the rules to be approved. In towns where they have a very little money and a lot of applications, they actually have to prioritize them, but so far we've never had to do that. We just vote whether it qualifies or not. So it's about
I have
4
to-
hours a year.
I have to reduce on what I do.
Yeah.
So.
The
Yeah,
problem is they keep on
I know,
asking people who are
I'm
doing
pushed now
stuff
to
and not
become vice
trying to get
president of
new
land
people.
trust, so. it's
Oh, yeah?
good.
These
Well,
committees,
Sherry's
they
back,
want
in.
more
She's
from
done it
you,
since the very
and the
beginning.
town
She's
is
done it
having you
since
do it, not like,
1976.
hey, have a professional.
And she's tired
So
of this pandemic. She's been
can't take
working
on
short of staff and short of
everything.
an extra bed. Yeah,
Yeah, we're still going, so.
I used to-
okay.
Yeah,
I thought
totally.
you shut it down.
Yeah.
You didn't know, you didn't close
I
it.
thought it was
so.
town, I mean, I thought this was conservation.
It is town business.
It is town
Yeah.
business.
So
Okay, so, motion,
I'll make a motion to close the meeting at 7:07.
Wow, that's
Second.
early.
all those in favor?
Aye,
All those opposed? Meeting is closed.
stop recording.